of silence or prayer. May we be seated. Order, honorable members. I can see some of you think the prayer was very short. I hope you did pray at home before coming here. Honorable members, the President has called this joint sitting of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces in terms of Section 84, subsection 2D of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, read with Joint Rule 14 to deliver the opening of Parliament address. I now call the Honorable the President to address the joint sitting.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Togo Didiza, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane, Deputy President Paul Mashatile, former President Thabo Mbeki, former Deputy President Baleka Mbete, former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, former Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Amos Masondo, Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya, Executive Mayor of Cape Town, Mr. Gordon Lewis, the various heads of institutions supporting democracy here present, esteemed member of the Order of Inkamanga, Umama Dr. Esther Mahlanga, distinguished guests and eminent persons, members of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable members of Parliament, and fellow South Africans. We gather here this evening in the province of the Western Cape in the sad aftermath of ferocious and unforgiving storms that have caused damage to homes, businesses, and infrastructure, affecting tens of thousands of people across the province. In recent days, we have witnessed runaway fires in KwaZulu-Natal, in which 14 people, including 6 firefighters, lost their lives. The fires also caused destruction of homes, livestock, and grazing fields. I spoke to the 2 premiers of our provinces earlier today, Honorable Ntuli and Honorable Winde, and informed them that the thoughts of South Africans are with all those people who have been subjected to these terrible weather conditions as they work to recover and rebuild their lives. I have asked honorable members, the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Chairperson of the Council of Provinces to convene this joint sitting to formally open Parliament on a day that is full of meaning and significance in the lives of not only South Africans, but many people around the world. Today we celebrate the birth of the founding father of our nation and democracy, and a global icon of peace, justice, and reconciliation, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Across our country and across the world, millions of people are marking this day with deeds of service and solidarity. Through their actions, they are giving life to a fundamental truth that we derive our humanity from the humanity of others. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Mutu kimutu ngabantu. Mutu ndi mutu ngabantu. Munu imunu ibanu bangwane. We are reminded of this day that we have a responsibility to each other, and that our well-being and our happiness cannot be separated from those of our fellow citizens, men and women, not only of our country but of the world. We are reminded that as we strive to progress and to prosper, we have a responsibility to ensure that no one is left behind. We, South Africans, are a diverse nation, a nation with different histories, different beliefs, cultures, and languages. Yet we are one people, and we share a common destiny. It is this common destiny that the people of South Africa have charged this Parliament and this government to consolidate and advance their destiny. Exactly 50 days ago, the people of South Africa went to the polls to decide the future of our country. Ahead of the elections, they had expressed their concerns and their hopes, their wishes, as well as their expectations. Through their votes, they determined that the leaders of our country should set aside their political differences and come together as one to overcome the severe challenges that confront our nation. They sent a clear message that without unity, cooperation, and partnership, our efforts to end poverty, unemployment, and inequality will not succeed. Guided by this directive from the people of our country, political parties from across the political spectrum have elected to establish a government of national unity. In an act that is unprecedented in our democratic history, 10 political parties represented here in our Parliament have agreed to craft a common program to build a better, more equal, and more just South Africa. They have come together despite their differences, and differences they have. They came together because they share a commitment to a nation that is united, prosperous, and inclusive. Through a statement of intent, these parties have made a firm commitment to respect the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa and the rule of law, and to promote accountability, transparency, integrity, and good governance. They have agreed to a minimum program as the foundation of the work of the government of national unity. The priority actions that arise from this minimum program received the full support of the recent Cabinet Lekgotla, which was held recently, which brought together newly appointed ministers, deputy ministers, and premiers from all our provinces. It also brought together local government representatives as represented in Salga, directors general and other key officials were also in attendance. These are the primary actions that we outline this evening that they decided on. Cabinet will be convening a further strategy session to consider the minimum term development plan, having moved from the medium term strategic plan, framework rather, the development plan which will translate the priorities that these parties have agreed to into a detailed plan, as well as the interventions that government will implement over the next 5 years. The medium-term development plan will set out a well-defined vision and strategic plan that outlines clear goals and includes specific, measurable objectives and a roadmap for achieving them. These goals will be properly aligned with the budget, which will support the implementation of these objectives. In all this work, the National Development Plan Vision 2030 remains the defining blueprint for our country's growth and development. We also draw inspiration from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union's Agenda 2063 in crafting our medium-term development plan. The Cabinet Lekgotla underscored the determination of all members of the Government of National Unity to work together to advance the interests of all South Africans without pursuing and promoting party political interess. It is about putting the people of South Africa first and foremost and advancing their interests. The Lekgotla noted with appreciation the commitment and great enthusiasm with which the newly appointed ministers and deputy ministers, as well as our premiers, have embarked on their duties. We will have seen many of them going throughout the country, immediately embarking on their tasks and outlining what their plans are. And some with great excitement, and some expressing their joy at having been appointed. And we all should rejoice as we see them. Honorable members, despite the achievement of 30 years of democracy and the work undertaken over the last 5 years to rebuild our economy and our society, millions of South Africans remain poor, unemployed, and they live in a highly unequal society. For a decade and a half, our economy has barely grown. The circumstances of the people of South Africa today requires that we act together as the Government of National Unity, as well as all key role players in our country, and that we act with urgency, boldly and decisively. The Government of National Unity has resolved to dedicate the next 5 years to actions that will advance three strategic priorities. Firstly, to drive inclusive growth and job creation. Secondly, to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living. And thirdly, to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. We have decided to place inclusive economic growth at the center of the work of the Government of National Unity and at the top of our national agenda. Our experience over the past 30 years has shown that when our economy grows, jobs are created. When our economy contracts, there is no job creation, and in fact, some jobs are lost. The Government of National Unity will pursue every action that contributes to sustainable, rapid economic growth and remove every obstacle that stands in the way of growth. We are determined that growth must be inclusive and that growth must also be transformational. Inclusive growth must drive the redistribution of wealth as well as opportunity. It must support the empowerment of Black South Africans and women and all those who in the past had been relegated to the fringes of our nation's economy. This is part of the constitutional imperative to redress the imbalances of the past and deal with the slow process of development. Through empowerment and transformation, we can ensure that the skills, the capabilities, resources, and energies of all South Africans are used to the greatest effect. We will continue to pursue the programs that encourage broad-based Black economic empowerment, employment equity, and support to small and medium-sized enterprises. We will continue to protect and uphold the rights of workers and continually strive to improve the conditions in which they work and live. Inclusive growth demands that we affirm the position of the women of our country and the young people in the economy of our country. Inclusive growth requires that we remove the social, economic, and cultural and other barriers to the full participation of persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups in our country. We will support the growth of rural enterprises and invest in public infrastructure in underserviced areas across our land. We will increase funding to land reform, prioritize the transfer of state land, and improve